Hi, this is George Alger, and welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. Today's guest expert is an audio systems engineer, and his name is Robert Wainscott. Welcome, Robert.
Thanks, George. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you, and can you just give us a little thumbnail sketch on your background?
I'll do it as quickly as possible. Like many people in my profession, I actually started as a musician. And as a musician, one day you find out that you really need to be able to record yourself so you can communicate with other musicians. So you become a recording engineer. And from there, I began, well, quite frankly, designing and manufacturing my own recording equipment. So now I manufacture and produce the equipment I record with. And these days, I'm very curious about the psychology behind it. Having done a lot of work for corporate America and how they use sound in marketing and to get people to feel or do something. It's quite fascinating.
Cool, thank you. So we're going to talk today about frequency and how it relates to audio. So what would be the first thing people should know about that?
I'll try to explain it as best as I can. I want you to imagine that I had a piano in front of me. You've seen a piano before, right? We have our low keys over here, and we have our high-sounding keys over here. There's 88 of them. And if I started out down here hitting the low key, we hear the bass, we hear that low sound, and that bass is just a slow-moving, just wave coming at you. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And as I move my way up the piano, the waves come together faster and faster, and to the human ear and to our brain, that's a higher pitch. Does that make sense?
Yeah, in fact, every sound we hear is a wave, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to hear it. You have to vibrate the eardrum. Otherwise, the eardrum doesn't work. Now, I want you to imagine, just for fun, that my piano didn't end at 88 keys, but it went out for maybe another 1,000 keys. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
I know.
I'd have to have some long arms.
You'd have to have some long arms. Now, eventually, the human ear, the eardrum, won't be able to hear those notes anymore as I start working my way up. Now, a dog might be able to hear that. You're familiar with the fact that dogs can hear frequencies higher than humans can.
Yeah, and that's why a dog whistle is silent to humans, correct? Is all dog whistles like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the dog can hear it, we don't hear it. So, as we work our way up, eventually our ears fail. But that's not where the human body fails. Eventually those notes would be felt by your skin. Your skin is a wave receptor. You feel it as heat. Those higher notes, instead of being a wave that your ear hears, becomes a wave that your skin feels. We've now engaged our next set of organs. Does that make sense?
Wow, okay, now hold on there. So I know how I can feel low frequencies, a bass at a concert or something like that, but even high frequencies we can sense that as well outside of our ears?
Oh, absolutely. Your skin senses it as heat.
Okay.
That's your next set of senses. Now, if I continue going up this piano, eventually I'm going to come into frequencies that your skin doesn't feel, but that your eyes see. And it's on a continuum, starting from bass.
What do you mean your eyes see?
Well, that's how your eyes see. Your eyes, light waves, they're waves. No different from sound waves. They're just very tiny now. They're moving very quickly.
Okay, so on let's say a continuum of perceptions then, the sound waves are getting finer and finer as they go from low to high, but at the high end, they actually will turn into light waves?
Yes.
Okay.
And if I had a piano with enough keys, the top keys would be producing light and eventually ultraviolet light and other colors. And of course the bottom keys are producing, what your ears hear. And somewhere in the middle is what your skin feels. Now it gets better. So we know what happens with the upper keys, but these lower keys, as we go past the bass, you know that certain sounds you don't hear, but you feel them. Your body knows that you can feel that vibration. If you were out and say a stampede was happening 2 miles away. You can feel that. You wouldn't hear it, but you would know that that was happening. And what that is we've just extended down a few more keys. Your ears don't work anymore, but your body is still aware of it. And an interesting thing is those very low frequencies, that's where your brain operates. Your brain operates at those very low frequencies, the ones that you can feel but not hear.
Okay, now this is definitely some new information for me, so I just want to make sure I'm getting all this correctly. You've mentioned a few times that you can feel vibrations as heat. Now, I was correlating that with just feeling the vibration, because that I have familiarity with. But can everyone feel vibrations as heat? Because I don't feel...
Well, yeah, that's how your body works. If I put you out in the sunlight and you're blindfolded, I mean, you definitely know you're out in the sunlight. I don't have to, your skin knows it.
That's true, but I'm trying to call up an experience of mine where I could feel sound as a heat, because I listen to music every day.
Well, it won't, the sound itself won't feel as heat. I'm just explaining, if I had a piano with enough keys, eventually, those keys would produce what would just be heat, eventually would be light. It's the same wave. As the waves get closer together, it's on a continuum.
It's not that every wave creates heat, it's this continuum.
Yes.
Okay, now I got it. Thank you for that clarification. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't confuse your viewers. But yeah, basically that's how it works. And as it works going up, it works going down. And different, and what I was saying is that certain frequencies, your ears pick up. Certain frequencies. If I had a heat lamp and aimed it at you, you would definitely know something was happening, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, your skin feels that. Certain frequencies, your eyes, that's when your eyes come into play. And certain very low frequencies, that's where your brain operates. And that's where we're going to be talking about some things, I hope, today in our discussion.
Okay, I like this, and just as a further amplification of this point, because you're actually changing my understanding of this, which was pretty fundamental to begin with, but I had looked at these different types of perceptions, let's say sound and sight and heat, as completely different wavelengths. You're saying it's all one continuum wavelength, it's just that it is the frequency, how high it is or how small it is, that determines whether you can hear it, whether you can feel it as heat, or whether you can see it.
Yeah.
But it's all the same wave.
Yeah, imagine if I had a long rope here in the studio and I tied it to that column over there and I started wiggling it. It's the same rope. If I could get really fast and lots of little wiggles, it's still the same rope. Just how fast I can wiggle the same rope.
I didn't realize it was all the same rope.
And your body, we're almost built as antennas for these, because these are waves. It works no different than an antenna works. All an antenna does is it picks up certain frequencies within that rope. Your car antenna, old TV aerials, same thing. We're antennas. Different parts of our bodies are sensitive to different frequencies.
Okay, so we've got a couple minutes left, so I just want to frame that, because I'm guessing, or I'm wondering if we're getting into a topic that might take days to explain. But
not really.
Okay, so let's jump in.
I'll be as brief as I possibly can. Now, your viewers probably are not familiar with what guys like me do related to audio, so let me give some examples where light influences people. If you take a waitress and you dress her in a red shirt, and the color red is a certain frequency, it is, in that spectrum on that piano, her tips increase by 20%.
Wow.
That's all you have to do. For some reason, in that environment, that frequency makes the opposite person feel more generous, and you get more money. This is a proven fact.
Is it specifically for waitresses? Does it not work on waiters?
Oh, no, it works on waiters.
Okay.
I was just...
Yeah.
But yeah.
Food service, okay.
Yeah, food service. Yep. Put a food service worker in red and their tips increase. People respond to those frequencies. If you had a neurological disorder, for example, let's say epilepsy, and I just flash a light at you, because I say no flash photography because it causes certain people with certain neurological disorders to have seizures. They're responding to those frequencies. You can harm someone that way. Well, your brain operates at certain frequencies as well. So if I'm working on, let's say for fun, something in a scary movie, or I just need you to sort of feel fear because that'll help you absorb whatever message it is I want you to have, well, we can put in sort of subharmonic frequencies that mimic your brain activity when you're having nightmares. I can do that. I can embed that in the audio, weaponized audio in a way. And so in the same way you overtip the waitress, we'll say, because she's wearing red, you might feel frightened in some movie I've helped make because of what we've done to the audio. We're sort of using your ears as a back door into your brain.
And is this something that is applied in most horror movies, for instance?
Anyone that I've ever worked on.
Okay. You worked on a number of them.
Yeah, I don't know what other audio engineers are doing out there, but that's something, I didn't invent that.
Okay.
I didn't invent that.
So it's creating emotions probably of all different kinds. I mean, I guess you could create fear. I mean, you certainly just mentioned that, but how about, I don't know, jealousy or exhaustion, or really is there a way to create an impact of all kinds of emotions, or just a few?
No, well, you are limited to a few, but you really don't need that many. I want you to think about it again in terms of light, for example. Whenever a filmmaker wants you to feel nostalgia or wants to show you something from the past, they'll always color correct that into a bit of a golden color. It's almost like the film has a golden wash over it. And they do that because that's just the color we respond to. You put gold on something and we think it's from the past. It's just done that way. And in film, the color correction is done all the time. Certain colors are brought out more, and certain colors sort of just don't have the luminance or the vibrance. And that's done to evoke certain emotions. You can do the same with audio. You can, well, put it this way, take the scariest movie you've ever seen, take out the audio track and put in a laugh track. I've seen things like that on YouTube. Terribly scary movies, but with laugh tracks put in it, and you watch it and all the horror is gone, regardless of what terrible thing it is you're witnessing on the screen. And I'd like to remind you, if you had someone that suffered from PTSD, someone that really suffered from PTSD, it wouldn't be a visual that would cause them to have an episode. It's almost always audio. It's what they hear that takes them back to that moment in time, not what they see. Audio is a very powerful tool, and it's just often overlooked.
Robert, I could talk to you all day. This is a fascinating conversation. We're out of time, but I'd like to see if we can sneak in your website.
You could go to blackboxanalog.com. That's all one word, Blackbox Analog.
Okay. Thank you very much, Robert.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.